Good evening and welcome to the River Valley Sports Report. I'm your host, Joe Brooks, with my co-host again tonight, Joey Powers. We're looking forward to talking to you tonight. We got some results, some upcoming end-of-season games as some teams are wrapping up their regular seasons here and getting ready for the playoff push, as well as we'll show you some standings across Division 2 and Division 3 in Vermont, as well as Division 3 over in New Hampshire. So without any further ado, let's get right into our sports results from the last couple of weeks here as we get you caught up, as now we do this bi-weekly. So diving right into it here, on October 2nd is where we're going to start off. The Terriers Field Hockey team improved to 6-1-1 with a 9-0 victory over Rutland. For the Terriers, senior captain Veronica Moore netted 3 goals for the hat trick, while Kaylin Leasai and Avery Maxfield each added 2 goals, with 1 each from Elise Thurber and McKenna Applegate, to finish out the scoring at the doghouse. The Bellows Falls girls soccer team dropped their first match of the season with a tough 3-1 loss versus Mount St. Joseph's. Gracie Patterson scored in the loss for the Terriers, her 14th goal of the season. Now here's some results from October 3rd.
October 3rd, Bellows Falls football team hosted rival Fairhaven at Hadley Field. This game was a tale of 2 halves. The scoring in the first half was fast and furious with a back-and-forth battle. At the half, the Terriers trailed 27-22. In the second half, however, it was a different story. Fairhaven punted on their first possession on the first play from scrimmage after Jaden Bazin ripped off a 70-yard TD run. On the ensuing kickoff, Tim Fletcher caused and recovered a fumble. On the very next play from scrimmage, a mirror image, Bazin scored from 15 yards out and the Terriers weren't looking back. The right side of the line, Rylan Ernst and Brockton Lovell took over the game and created running lane after running lane. Bazin ended the day with 305 yards and 5 touchdowns on 23 carries, while Pat Connors ran for 211 and 2 scores on his 18 carries. The dynamic duo also each added an interception. The Terriers' record sits at 5-0.
Here's some scores from October 4th. On October 6th, the Fall Mountain Golf team wrapped up its regular season with a home match at Hooper Golf Course in Walpole, New Hampshire. The Wildcats posted 72 points, but fell to 0-2 on the day as Concord Christian and Conant. The 2 losses dropped the Wildcats' season record to 11-15. For the Wildcats, junior Perry Lent and senior Owen T2 took home medalist honors. Lent and T2 also both qualified for the Division 4 individual championships match. For the day, Perry Lent led the way with 26 points, while Owen T2 posted 21. Owen Naheisky had 15. Henry Caserta and Morgan Grace both posted 11 points, while Carson Burgess rounded out the scoring with 1. The Division 4 individual tournament is set for October 16th at Newport Country Club. The top 16 qualifiers will play October 18th at Beaver Meadow Country Club in Concord, New Hampshire. Here's some scores from October 6th through the 8th. Here's some scores continued on October 8th. Another drop of scores from October 9th through the 11th as we get you caught up on soccer and football.
The Terriers football team continued their undefeated start to the season with a win against previously unbeaten Linden Institute in Linden, Vermont. The Terriers overcame a 7-0 early deficit to pull off the 32-14 victory. Jaden Bazin led the way with 3 touchdowns on the ground, while also tossing a touchdown pass to senior wide receiver Andrew Goyette. Terriers traveled to Mount Mansfield on Saturday the 18th to take on Mount Mansfield in the first road game covered by Fact TV. October 13th, the Terriers girls soccer team dropped their second straight match with a 6-2 loss against an undefeated West Rutland squad. The loss drops the Terriers' record to 9-3 on the season.
October 14th, the Fall Mountain boys soccer team continued on its hot streak, and this time collecting a little hardware along the way. With a 2-1 victory on the road against rival Stevens, the Wildcats bring home the Bernard Cup back to Langdon for the first time since 2014. The win pushes the Wildcats' record to 7-3-3 on the season, but a 7-1-1 mark over their last 9 games has the Wildcats pushing for a home playoff match where they hope to end their 13-year winless streak in the NHIAA playoffs. The Wildcats girls soccer team dropped their match with rival Stevens, who leads Division III with a 13-0 record. The Wildcats fought tough, but ultimately the host Cardinals pulled out a 3-0 victory. The loss drops the Wildcats' season record to 6-4-3, as they also look to host a Division III playoff match.
October 15th, the Terriers girls soccer team got their 10th victory of the season in a thrilling 2-1 overtime victory versus Thetford Academy. Senior Grace Hayes scored both goals for the Terriers. The ladies will wrap up the regular season on Friday versus Arlington. The Fall Mountain Volleyball saw their season record fall to 6-9 with a 3-0 loss to Laconia. The Terriers Field Hockey team wrapped up their regular season with a 6-0 victory over Windsor. Senior captain Veronica Moore had 5 goals on senior night to pace the offense. The win leaves the Terriers' record at 11-2-1 as they prepare for the Division II playoffs.
That wraps up our results for this show. Now we're going to have a few slides for you on the upcoming games as the teams wrap up their regular seasons and make their playoff pushes, as well as the current standings for Division II and Division III and Division IV across New Hampshire and Vermont. Now, let's get ready for Let's Catch Up. All right, and this week on Let's Catch Up, Joey, let's catch up on the first 5 weeks of the NFL season. Been some different things going on.
Absolutely.
Personally, as a Patriots fan, it's been kind of a refreshing season.
Right.
I know we had 20 years of being spoiled, but my gosh, the 4 afterwards were pretty bad.
Losing's not fun.
So it's kind of nice to see a little life coming back out of New England. What are your immediate thoughts on what you've seen so far as far as surprise teams?
Well, honestly, I'm going to say that I am also, as a Falcons fan, very happy to see that our young offense is finally clicking together. My biggest takeaway as far as positive is I can't believe the Colts are 5-1 with Daniel Jones.
Crazy.
That kind of surprises me.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
Tampa 5-1, also maybe a little bit of a surprise. I think Baker Mayfield actually, when he was drafted, he got a bad rap in Cleveland because everybody stinks in Cleveland.
How crazy is the Baker Mayfield? Honestly, thinking about it, 2 weeks ago they played Baker Mayfield and Tampa played Seattle. Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold were both on Carolina 3 years ago and got cut.
Yeah.
They couldn't even make the Carolina Panthers that year, and I think Carolina won 2 or 3 games.
Yeah.
Now they're both starting NFL quarterbacks on good teams. Baker Mayfield is probably a top 5-ish quarterback.
They have him in the MVP conversation right now because he's winning their games for them.
With nobody. Everybody's hurt.
He's been bailing them out in a lot of them.
Yeah.
So that's
and he is the last quarterback to win a playoff game for the Cleveland Browns as well.
Right. So that is kind of a surprise. It's not a shock because I do think he is going to be a franchise quarterback. I think the tools are there. But the Colts, that just really surprises me. 5-1.
Daniel Jones did have one good year with the Giants where they had playmakers around him. He does have a great running back in Jonathan Taylor, but he also had Saquon Barkley.
Right.
And you do kind of got to question, is Brian Daboll really not a good coach? You look at what happens with guys that leave the Giants and leave the Jets, and they seem to be good quarterbacks once they get out of there.
Once they get out of there, exactly.
Right. So it's kind of is this one of those instances where Daniel Jones was able to get out of the big lights of New York City and maybe out of a bad coaching situation, not necessarily that Daboll's a bad coach, but maybe it just didn't work for him in Daboll's system, or the pressure of being in New York and having all those, But yeah, it is a little surprising. Taylor's great, but outside of that, Michael Pittman's a good receiver.
Right.
I haven't seen their games yet, so I can't tell you anything about what they've done.
One thing I will say about that situation in New York is I watched the game against the Eagles last week. Jackson Dart can play.
Yeah.
He's definitely. It was a good call to yank Wilson and put him in because he had a great game against the Eagles last week.
Side note, I was hoping Cincinnati would have traded for Jameis Winston instead of Joe Flacco.
Yeah, I'm still kind of baffled
I
at
honestly
that.
just thought Jameis Winston would be a lot of fun in Cincinnati.
Oh, hey, with those receivers?
I mean, he's going to throw 30 interceptions, but he's going to throw 30 touchdowns
too. So he'll offset it.
So it's going to be exciting.
And at least he can move.
So I just kind of I was hoping that, put him with a couple awesome receivers. That might have been a fun watch,
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, here's 35 to 35, and I threw 500 yards and 3 touchdowns and
7
4
picks. Yeah.
Including one to end the game. So frustrating as a Bengals fan, I would imagine.
Right.
Probably more entertaining, though, than what
absolutely.
they've seen so far.
Another surprise, Joe. Obviously, I know injuries have been a big deal, but Baltimore.
Yeah.
1-5.
Yeah, I mean, and it's only been the last 2 games without Jackson.
Right. They're just not playing well.
And I know they had a tough schedule. It was Buffalo and Kansas City were the first 2 losses, I think. So good teams, and then you lose Jackson, but it's been ugly without Jackson.
It has been ugly without Jackson.
So you see exactly why he's an MVP candidate
every year. Right.
He clearly carries that team.
Yes, he does.
To see them fall off that hard,
that quick.
Exactly.
I mean, it's 6 games. They're 1-5. They're pretty much almost already out of the playoff picture.
I would assume not many teams have come back from such a record.
Exactly.
I certainly don't know the history behind it.
They're considered a perennial Super Bowl contender every year.
Right.
And 1-5 right now, I mean,
they can certainly get hot and spoil teams down the stretch if Jackson comes back healthy.
Right.
But, boy, making that push back, because you got to win 11 games.
Yeah.
To get into the playoffs. And right now, that would mean they'd have to finish, 10-2 to get there? So not impossible, but that's a big ask of anybody.
Who's playing quarterback right now?
I think it's still Cooper Rush unless Jackson's back.
Okay. No, I think it is still Rush.
But yeah, that's a shocking one as well. Also, to me, one of the shockers, we'll talk about the Patriots here for just a minute because it's nice to see.
Yeah. No, they're coming
Drake
back.
May took a huge step forward in the
absolutely.
After week 1. Completely different player, showing the athleticism. Looks like New England may have a franchise quarterback. He's making the guys around him better. That's what you like to see. Defensively, Mike Vrabel has put them in a good place. It's nice to see adults back in the room in New England. But the bottom of that division, Miami and New York,
1-11 combined.
Kind of expected the Jets to be a bit of a dumpster fire this year.
Right.
Coaching change, trying the Justin Fields route that hasn't worked for anybody else.
Right.
But Miami.
Yeah, I didn't see
Miami fall that far.
I didn't see him this bad.
I could have seen them being like a 500
team, right?
But boy, that fell off quickly. And I know Tyreek Hill got hurt, but they weren't playing well before that.
No, they weren't.
Do you think Tua could be playing for his job this year?
I think Mike McDaniel hopes Tua is playing for his job because Mike McDaniel's probably gone.
Yeah, and they might be tied together because I think McDaniel's the one that gave him the big extension. So that's that's definitely a shocker to me to see just how quickly and separated it is now from top to bottom in that division.
Right.
And same with the AFC Central, where Pittsburgh is just basically running away with it
almost
now.
Clinched the division already.
With Baltimore completely out of it, down, and Cincinnati down.
Without Burrow.
And Cleveland being Cleveland.
Exactly.
Cutting Baker Mayfield, who wins you a playoff game because you don't like him. I mean, come on. So
Cleveland's always going to be Cleveland, though.
Yeah, it's just ever since they moved, man, it's kind of been one thing after another. Think of all the quarterbacks they've taken in the drafts over the years. Tim Couch was the first one. Remember that guy?
Yep.
He was the number 1 pick out of Kentucky.
Well, look at the contract they gave Watson.
Right.
What was that? All guaranteed.
What
are you thinking?
Yeah, even for a quarterback, I mean, what are the chances a guy makes it 10 years healthy?
Exactly.
At playing quarterback in the NFL?
Especially with the Browns.
Right. Outside of guys like Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, most guys suffer pretty good injuries. I know Brady missed 1 season even, and I think Rodgers might have too.
Yeah.
But they're rarer that they've only missed a handful of games, where it seems to happen a little more. So
yeah.
But yeah, and now the Eagles seem to have fallen a little bit of hard times. Is that teams kind of catching up with the offense, you think, Joey, or are they just not as good as they played last year?
I think it's kind of the same with Buffalo. Both teams have lost their last 2 weeks. But you look at the 2 teams that Buffalo lost to, they lost to the Patriots, who seem to be up and coming again, and then they just lost to the Falcons, who seem to be up and coming again.
Yeah.
Whereas the Eagles, they got smacked around by the Giants.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a nationally televised game, and that game was I watched that whole game. That game was not close.
No.
So I don't think the Eagles are as good as they were last year.
And Barkley's just nowhere.
I mean, 2 games ago, he had 6 carries.
And it sounds completely like guys are unhappy in the offense with their roles. Like A.J. Brown has been frustrated.
He hasn't been happy all year.
And it seems like Barkley's searching for answers. And so I saw I didn't see it, but I was listening to a show I listened to, and they said they ran the tush push essentially 4 straight plays.
4 straight plays. I was watching that
Like,
game.
that is foolishness.
I was like, I can't. And they finally got in, but still, it was
that's
4
foolish.
consecutive plays.
That's foolish.
It was a joke. That shouldn't be allowed.
I don't like the play. I don't like the idea of outlawing a play just because.
I don't either.
But they also aren't calling it offsides.
No.
Like, they jump offsides on every single one of them, and
Yeah.
they even line up offsides. Let's talk about your Falcons for a minute. Before the game against Buffalo, I wasn't thinking they were stepping forward. I was thinking they were struggling a bit. The loss of the Panthers, where they got completely blown out, was a shocker.
That was embarrassing.
And then I'd seen a stat before the Buffalo game where Michael Penix was 1-5 against teams that had scored 7 points.
Yeah, that's not good.
That's not good at all.
Not good.
Because you're not shutting out a lot of teams in the NFL. So that was kind of a big statement game for them. Drake London's a nice player. Bijan Robinson
is
an absolute
Love
monster.
the guy. He's awesome.
What are your thoughts on Penix? Is he the right guy, or is he still kind of on the fence there?
It's still a little early.
Yeah.
He's only had like 8 career starts now. I think that might have been number 9 against Buffalo,
yeah.
which it was good though.
It was a good start.
Beating Buffalo, it's at home, but still, you beat Buffalo by 10 points.
Yeah.
Obviously Robinson was the star of the game, but he is getting the ball to London a lot more.
Yeah.
Which needs to be done. He needs to get the ball to Pitt more too. Kyle Pitt's more. No, I think it's still too early. But the issue I always had with drafting Penix was, why did you give Kirk Cousins all that money if you're going to draft a quarterback in the first round? That makes no sense.
Right.
And then on top of it, they keep Cousins and they're still paying him.
Right. But from your general just idea, do you think he's the right guy?
I think he could be. I think he's still gaining confidence.
Yeah,
but
he's got a big arm.
It seems like week to week he is getting more confident.
Yeah.
But there's still some very errant throws that you're just like, sometimes you just gotta throw that ball away, man.
Right.
Because you're trying to force it and you're not there yet.
Yeah, he doesn't have a full season.
He definitely does have a cannon.
Yeah,
but
he doesn't have a full season of games, so it is early. It's just
I guess some of it is he's confident and he feels like he can do it, but some of them it's like you just got to eat it sometimes.
Yeah.
Man. Just chuck it and punt.
You live and learn.
But he's a kid.
But it's got to be exciting to have that excitement back at quarterback, because Kirk Cousins was fine, but he's not an exciting player.
Not at all.
And Penix has that ability to be an exciting player.
And him and Robinson together.
Yeah, Robinson's an absolute monster.
Yeah, the future in Atlanta, it's looking good, man.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah, another absolute shocker to the season though, Mac Jones.
I know.
I
can't believe it.
So his rookie year, I was like, this guy isn't bad. They got guys around him. McDaniels put him in good positions. He made good throws. He ended up making the Pro Bowl through a couple of injuries. His season wasn't bad. The Patriots went to the playoffs. Then they hired a couple of defensive coordinators.
Exactly.
To be his offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
He wasn't very good. And his shortcomings were very evident.
Yes.
He didn't have the big arm. He's not an athlete. And then he struggled again the following year, got traded or cut and sent to Jacksonville, where it was essentially the same thing.
Exactly.
Threw as many touchdowns as interceptions. Kyle Shanahan was always kind of the guy that everyone thought he should go to. And it almost looks like it is just, he's a system guy. And you wonder if he's going to get one of those contracts like the other guys who go have a year, and is he going to be more than a system guy? But it's good for him to have a little success, because
absolutely.
he got absolutely destroyed here in New England.
Oh, yeah,
and
he did.
Some of it was his fault because of his arrogance.
Not all of it, though.
His arrogance and attitude about all of it and how he carried himself. But, man, he was not put in a good position.
No, he wasn't. And the Patriots fans were very brutal about him.
Yeah, because they expected great things after that rookie year.
Exactly.
And boy, it didn't take long that second year for it to fall apart.
No,
it really didn't.
No, it didn't.
So yeah, exciting start to the NFL season. Looking forward to the way it finishes up. So as we get ready to finish up, let's catch up. We're gonna talk about our next top 5 things, Joey.
Sure. So
Go ahead, Joey. Why don't you read off your list?
So my first one is the flip. Everybody knows the flip. I mean, it was just I was thinking about it on my walk back from the store today. If you think about it, that's one of the most heads-up plays in all of professional sports. Just the know-how to just be like, okay, that ball's not going to get anywhere it needs to go. Derek Jeter runs from shortstop to the first baseline, grabs it in the same motion, flips it to Posada, tags Jeremy Giambi just in time. That saved our game, which saved our season.
Wow, remembering Jeremy Giambi out of all of that. That's crazy.
I was watching that game at the country club with a friend of mine.
Yeah.
And I was arguing with him. I was like, that couldn't have been Jeter. I was like, no way Jeter was all the way over there.
Yeah, he was a winning player. Man.
And then I just watched the replay.
It doesn't show up in the metrics or anything. If you look at all the new nuance information, everyone says Jeter was overrated. He won games. He made winning plays.
The thing about that is you don't teach that.
No.
You're born with that. That's just instinct.
And I fully believe there's winning players and there's losing players.
Oh, absolutely.
And he was a winning player. He made winning plays.
He did.
He wasn't the fastest guy. He didn't have the best range. Didn't have great pop.
No, he wasn't the best at anything.
Shouldn't have won as many Gold Gloves as he won. No. But man, did he make winning plays.
He did. He did a lot.
Right.
And that was like one of the biggest. That was just a shining moment in his career.
Absolutely.
Without question.
So what do you got next, Joey?
The Miracle on Ice.
Nice.
You know, obviously, this happened like 6 or 7 months before I was born.
Yeah.
But one of my favorite sports movies of all time is Miracle.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yes, I have.
I love that movie. I watch it at least once a year. Arguably the biggest upset in sports.
Yeah.
You know, nobody beat Russia.
Especially at that time.
I mean, we played them in the preliminary rounds that year, and they beat us 12-0.
Right.
You know, and a lot of people don't realize that this wasn't the actual gold medal game. This was to get to the gold medal game. So Russia actually ended up with the bronze. But it was the Russian team was undefeated for I don't know how long. They were all professional athletes. The USA didn't have any professional athletes. They were all amateurs and collegiate players.
Yeah, which I missed that.
I did too. But I mean, it was just such. I mean, I just watching the movie and just seeing it just looks so realistic.
Right.
And I mean, one of the most famous quotes in sports: "Do you believe in miracles?"
Yeah.
You know, Al Michaels. You know, and he called that in the movie too. That's cool. That he actually did it in real life and then did it in the movie too.
Yeah, that's a good one, Joey. That's a good one.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. What do you got next?
Let's see.
We'll go through your list.
Okay.
Then we'll do mine.
Grant Hill's full court pass.
Oh my gosh,
Christian
I forgot
Laettner.
about that play. Wow, yeah, that was a great play.
One of the first memories of college basketball I ever remember.
My friend Dan Smith was his sister was at Kentucky, I believe at that time, or had just graduated. So huge Kentucky fan. Him and I were watching that game.
I was watching,
and I remember asking him, why aren't they covering the pass? And they just let him chuck it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And the crazy thing was Laettner was 12 for 12 from the floor in that game and 12 for 12 from the line. He didn't miss one shot all game.
Yeah.
He threw it, caught it, jumped up, turned around, shot it, and drained it. They won 104-103. And that was when I first started to watch. I wasn't even rooting for anybody. I was just watching the game. I was like 11.
Probably one of the best college basketball players of our lifetime.
Oh, yeah.
Not a great pro, but probably one of the best college players.
The one thing I always hated about the original Dream Team, I mean, that's obviously the best basketball team of all time. I mean, I don't think there's any question. But they could choose one college player.
They chose Laettner over Shaq.
Could you imagine Shaq on that team?
Right.
Oh, my God.
I guess they just figured Laettner wouldn't care if he didn't get to play. I don't know. Whereas Shaq, you would have almost been forced to play him because he was bigger than everybody
David
else.
Robinson, Patrick Ewing. Could you imagine that?
No.
That would have been crazy.
You could have run the three of them out at the same time.
So then, when we were talking before the show, you had mentioned that favorite plays.
Yeah.
And so this one is not one of my favorite plays.
Right.
This is one of my least favorite plays of all time.
Yeah.
The Doug Flutie Hail Mary against Miami. 48-yard touchdown pass as time expires. They beat Miami 47-45.
Definitely didn't see it live, but I've seen it
I
a
didn't
million times.
Everybody knows that play, though.
Yeah, won him the Heisman.
And I was going to say, everybody says that's what won Doug Flutie the Heisman. And absolutely, I believe it.
What a play, though.
It was. And wasn't it his teammate? Or his roommate? I think it's his college
maybe
roommate.
His roommate. It was Jared Phelan.
Phelan, yeah.
He was also from Massachusetts, a high school kid from
I want to say they were roommates, but
they might have been. Positive. They might have even gone to high school together, Joey, if I remember the story fully. Yeah. But I don't. I'd have to go way back, and my memory just isn't what it was 20 years ago.
And the last one is something that I watched live. I'm sure you watched live, too. The Music City Miracle.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that?
That was a good one.
I was watching that at my mom's house.
Yep. Frank Wycheck.
Frank Wycheck lateraled it 75 yards. And remember how many times?
Derek Mason?
No, Kevin Dyson.
Kevin Dyson, yep.
Do you remember how many times they reviewed that to make sure it wasn't? I mean, it seemed like it went on for like half an hour.
Right, because they had to make sure it wasn't a forward pass.
It was so close.
Wild. Absolutely wild.
And it was one of those things. You remember where you were, what you were doing.
Right.
You know, it was such a classic play.
Yep.
You know, and that was just
Absolutely.
So that was my 5.
All right, so we'll go to my 5 here. So my first one was pretty much at the height of Bo insanity. Like, he was the top of his game in the NFL. He had Bo Knows, the TV show.
Yep.
1989 All-Star game, leads off with a home run. 450-foot home run off Rick Russell.
Rick Russell.
And just as the 10-year-old Joe Brooks, who never got to see Bo that much because he played in Kansas City. We didn't have cable packages and stuff back then in this area. So he got to see him when he played the Red Sox, or I think they might have had like Sunday Night Baseball occasionally back then or something like that. So see him a handful of games. So favorite player in the world gets to see him smash one, just absolutely hammer it.
He could crush.
And then it was followed up by Wade Boggs right back to back after that. So that was also neat because Boggsy was a Red Sox kid. Number 4, shouldn't have happened. And the player who was very involved in it even admitted this later in the rule, but said, well, that was the rule at the time, so what do you want me to do about it? The tuck rule.
Tuck rule. I didn't even think of that. I remember watching that live.
The tuck rule, Joey.
Yep.
Oh, my gosh. Like, talk about just the height of not, like, thinking it was over.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
As a Patriots fan,
everybody thought it was
they'd had
over.
this magic run. And they got the home playoff game. It was snowing. A guy even passed away in the stands that night.
Really?
Like watching the game.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, guy passed away. Just old. He was of old age and he ended up dying. It was like seeing the greatest game that he'd ever seen. But the tuck rule got years later ruled, and it's not a thing. And they asked Brady about it. He's like, well, it was the rule then. It was a sit-down interview with him and Charles Woodson. I don't think Charles Woodson felt quite the same way.
I bet that was an interesting conversation.
Oh, my gosh. But, yeah, the game was over. Thought it was a fumble.
It was over, yeah.
Didn't even think there would be a review. And then suddenly, like, they're reviewing it. And I remember going,
why are they reviewing it?
Why? That's clearly a fumble.
Lost the ball.
If it's a fumble, it's always a fumble.
I think every football fan was confused at that moment.
Yeah.
They're like, what are you talking about?
I don't think anyone had ever heard of the tuck rule.
I'd never heard of it.
Nope. I don't think we've had it
I don't think a lot of people have heard of it. I think the commentators are like, what's going on?
And now everybody knows
Everybody knows what the tuck rule is.
And then the iconic shot after that of Vinatieri hitting the field goal through the snow. I mean, just absolutely iconic. So one of my favorite memories of all time. My third favorite, I get to see Carlton Pudgy Fisk live hit a home run at Fenway Park when he was with the Chicago White Sox in 1990.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I only get to see him play once live, and it was with the White Sox in 1990 towards the end of his career.
And he hit a home run.
And he hit one.
That's pretty cool.
And I think it was off, it was a lefty for the Red Sox, like Rob Murphy or Matt Young or something like that. It was one of those guys. It was like a mid-starter / bullpen guy back then. So it was just fun because, I'd met Pudgy. I think I met him later in life. I don't think I'd met him at that point. I met him once in life. So it was just kind of fun, and I get to see a home run from the local kid.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Local team. So that was a fun memory for me. So number 2, the 2002 Super Bowl against the greatest show on turf. Following up the Snow Bowl, as a New England Patriots fan from the mid-'80s, I honestly didn't think there was a shot the Patriots would ever even win a Super Bowl. They were a pretty dysfunctional franchise that once a decade or so would make a Super Bowl and then kind of not show up in that Super Bowl. So it was kind of a pattern, like you expect them to be good for a year or two and then fall back apart. And that was so... To win that first Super Bowl against the greatest show on turf with Kurt Warner and Marshall Faulk and Torrey Holt and Isaac Bruce and like my favorite player on that Patriots team was Ty Law, so I got to see him have a pick 6 in that game. Like he only fell to the Patriots because of, you'll remember the Hail Mary, Colorado versus Michigan, Cordell Stewart to Michael Westbrook. That was over Ty Law. So he fell in the draft because of that play. They didn't think he could cover as well. So he fell to the Patriots at like 24 or 25.
Because of a Hail Mary.
Yeah. So he fell like the Patriots at 24 or 25, and he was probably the best cornerback in the history of the Patriots. Phenomenal player. So number 1, it's fairly obvious for a Boston Red Sox
2004.
2004.
Of course, yeah. I forget.
It's ending of the curse. The whole way along the way, even
everything
the
that
whole
year.
season,
Everything.
the whole way around the playoffs. I mean,
Coming back from 3-0 to the
3-0
Yankees.
to the Yankees.
Winning Game 7 in the Bronx.
Caveman hitting a grand slam in the first inning.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh. Then, yeah, like the World Series wasn't even the World Series. Because they came back against the Yankees.
Yeah.
Then they swept the Cardinals in what was really a non-contest.
No.
I believe David Ortiz hit close to 600 in the series. So.
Once they beat the Yankees, everybody knew they were going to win the World Series.
It was
just
wild.
destiny.
Yeah.
It was destiny.
But that year, as a Boston Red Sox fan, was one I also thought I would never see coming. Like, there's been generations of Red Sox fans who didn't see it.
People that were born and died without seeing it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, you always kind of assumed that may happen to you as well.
Exactly.
So pretty wild. So those were my top 5 moments in sports that a lot of them I'll actually go back and watch these games.
No, this is good. This is like nice nostalgia, remembering all this
that
stuff.
Was fun.
It's a lot of fun.
So as we wrap up our random top 5, now we're going to get ready for what I find to be my favorite part of this, and one of us is going to stump the other, Joey. We got a random athlete quiz. All right, Joey Powers. Let's see if I can stump you this week.
All right.
This is a basketball player.
Okay.
Played his college basketball at Arizona. He was a 3-time first-team All-Pac-10, All-America in 1995. Shared Pac-10 Co-Player of the Year with Ed O'Bannon in 1995. When he left Arizona, he was first in three-pointers made with 272, second in points with 1,849, and fourth in assists with 663. He was drafted 7th overall in 1995 draft as the first ever selection of the Toronto Raptors. He won Rookie of the Year in 1996, averaging 19 points per game, 9.3 assists per game. He never made an All-Star team.
Damon Stoudemire?
You got it.
Okay. At first, I thought it was Miles Simon, and then when you said the Raptors, I was like, okay, it's Damon Stoudemire.
Yep. Nope. Didn't get you this week.
No, that was a good one, though.
Yeah, I was tempted. I almost did John Olerud, but
that would be tough, I think.
Yeah, I thought. Then I was like, I don't know. I'll try Damon Stoudemire because John Olerud seemed maybe a little too random.
Yeah, no, I mean, I have no idea where John Olerud played college.
Washington State.
Yeah, I never. Yeah.
He was actually he was a pitcher there and went 15-1 his senior season.
I did not know that.
He hit over 500 there that senior season. You might have got him because I think one of the clues in there would have been flirted with 400.
I was going to say, did he win a battle title once? With
360. He ended up at 363.
Yeah, okay.
I think that was the year.
They had a really killer lineup back then.
Yeah.
They had like Olerud, Joe Carter, Roberto Alomar, Paul Molitor.
Yeah, absolutely wild team. All right. So now, as we get ready to wrap up our show, we're going to do our final thoughts. So I'm going to hand this off to Joey for your final thoughts of the night.
Well, I mean, I'm a huge Miami Hurricanes football fan.
Yep.
They're number 2 right now in the playoff ratings, whatever you want to call it. The first BCS hasn't come out yet, but I was reading an article basically saying Miami was going to be at least a 7-point favorite in every game the rest of the way on their schedule.
Oh, wow.
And that they could literally sleepwalk their way through the college football to make it to the college football playoff.
Yeah.
And it's been a long time since Miami actually really has been relevant. The last time they made a BCS game was 2004. We beat Florida State 17-14.
Yep.
And I'm excited because we all knew this was going to happen when Cristobal got here. We just knew it was going to take a matter of time because he is a Miami guy.
Yeah.
And we knew he was going to be able to recruit Miami players to play for Miami.
Yep.
And it's finally here, and I'm excited.
Nice.
I really am. I really feel like they might be the best team in college football finally. And it's been a long time since we could say that.
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
Since Ken Dorsey.
Yeah. and not because of Ken Dorsey, because of everybody around Ken Dorsey.
Right, the Mac Jones syndrome.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So my final thoughts are on college football as well. It's a little different. Bill Belichick, my goodness. From what I thought at one time was a 50-50 split of the New England Patriots' greatness to the biggest laughingstock in all of college football, I didn't necessarily see this downfall coming. Not this fast anyways, but the man has a lot of money and houses on Nantucket. I'm not sure why he decided to do this because he doesn't seem to be into the recruiting aspect, and quite frankly, I don't see the draw to it, and he's definitely not making his legacy any better.
Not at all.
For anything that had to do with not Tom Brady. It's making it pretty clear that there's Tom Brady with Bill Belichick and then Bill Belichick with everybody else. So it's just somewhat sad to see the culmination come to this point. But if I was Bill, I'd get out. I'd head to Nantucket, and I would just kind of not be around anymore. Go live my life in Nantucket. You've got six Super Bowl rings of your own. I think you won a couple as an assistant. Like, it's been a good run. You don't need this.
No, absolutely.
And for that'll wrap up our show this week on River Valley Sports Report. We'll be back in 2 more weeks here with another episode. By that point, we should be deep into the Division 3, Division 4 playoffs for New Hampshire and Vermont, so hopefully we'll see some results. The Bellows Falls Terriers are sitting in first place in football, first place in field hockey, 6th place in soccer, so they're looking at home matches all across the board for the playoffs right now. So exciting time. I know a bunch of the Fall Mountain teams are qualified for the playoffs, and a couple are pushing for home field as well. So next couple of weeks should be pretty exciting as we get to
absolutely.
it. So when we see you in a couple of weeks, we'll have some more results for you, and we'll go from there. So for Joey Powers, I'm Joe Brooks. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.